Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Caution is Advised. And that is because a rather dangerous thing has happened in the heavens now. We have three malefic planets all in harsh aspect to each other. But before we get to why caution is advised, at the same time, we have some very nice aspects among the planets going on, because once again, they are rather evenly balanced. And that can give you a nice choice of pleasant things that you can do, or plans or goals that you want to achieve, and you can get cooperation with that. Because there are three planets trining each other in the air signs, which are very creative. There are another three planets in the water signs that are all trining each other, and there are three planets in the earth signs trining each other. And in the earth signs, it's a grand trine. There are planets in every earth sign, all three of them. And so there are definitely good possibilities that you can take advantage of this week before caution is advised. And so the first thing is that the Sun and Mercury are in Gemini, and they are beautifully trining Saturn in Aquarius, and together those three are trining the sign of Libra as well, which rules peace and partnership and the law. And so Mercury is retrograde, and so is Saturn. When planets go retrograde, it means you've got to go back and check things again. And the reason why is that's what the planets are doing. Retrograde planets are going back over their orbits, covering ground they've already covered before, and then when they turn around and go direct, they're going to bring a lot of additional information with them that will be revealed. So over the summer, we're going to have a number of retrograde planets. But by the early fall, certainly by the end of September and the start of October, when there will be 6 retrograde planets, 4 of them will go direct, all in just the month of October. We will certainly have proof of something by then, or we'll have a lot more information than we have now. So even if you have to go back and check your plans again, or redo your schedule, or you may be subject to some sort of revisions in your plans, that's all right, because these planets in the air signs are compatible. They're supporting each other, particularly Saturn, which is a slow mover but a very solid planet. It's trining the Sun and Mercury in Gemini, and together they're trining Libra. So, if you took a long view about trying to achieve a goal of yours, and you allowed for some sort of delay or revision, you would be rather successful with that in the end. You just have to perhaps understand that there could be little changes along the way, but it's okay. You'd still be going toward your goal. And then there are 3 planets in the water signs, and they are very compatible. I think there's romance on the horizon this summer, and that is because Venus is now in Cancer, the sign of women and of the home and the family and real estate and America. And that Venus is being trined beautifully by Jupiter and by Neptune in Pisces. And Pisces is a very creative sign, but also a very forgiving sign, a charitable sign. So there can be a way this summer that, particularly in June and July, while Jupiter is in Pisces, it will leave by the end of July. But while it is trining that Venus in Cancer, and then together all 3 are trining the sign of Scorpio as well, there can be a sense of wanting to get on in life and sort of picking up the pieces and going forward. And if it takes the revelation of hidden information, then as that comes out and mistakes are acknowledged and there's prior proven evidence that something was a little different than the way it was originally talked about, then there is the opportunity for justice to be done. And once that's done, we can all sort of forgive and forget and go forward, but this time on much more solid ground with the truth to guide us. Then the third element that has 3 planets in it are the earth signs, and oh boy, are they well aspected. Uranus in Taurus is not only being tried by Pluto in Capricorn, but also by the moon in Virgo today. That is wonderful. So this is a time when getting to the facts and being a little bit more organized and following through and finishing on your ideas or your projects or trying to get complete a schedule. And even if you are open to revisions, you're still sort of forward thinking in your actions. This is when a lot of people can rely on the plain facts to determine their security and their stability. And, you know, Taurus is a money sign. Virgo is the sign of health and of service to others. Capricorn rules big business and big government agencies. There's problems that can be solved now with these 3 planets in all of the earth signs. And one of them is that since Pluto is retrograde, that there can be changes at the top in management, but they're feeling it's necessary. So, I mean, it's for good reasons. That'll happen. And then there can also be changes in budgets. And that, once again, can be dictated by the condition of the bottom line of either large corporations or government agencies. And certainly policies can be reviewed and either accepted or rejected. So all of those wonderful possibilities are available to you right now, which is great. But still, caution is advised. Why? Well, because now we have something that isn't so easy to move around and isn't so versatile and isn't adaptable at all. So in other words, we have a condition in the heavens that is going to cause a lot of trouble because it's going to set up stress and tension and resistance and some sort of financial reckoning in one way or another. And the reason why is that Mars has now moved into Leo, and it is opposing, it's a malefic planet, and it is opposing Saturn in Aquarius, which rules freedom and the future. And together, these 2 planets are opposing each other very harshly by the end of this month. And they are both being squared by Uranus in Taurus, which is the 3rd malefic planet. So all 3 of these planets will be in extremely close, harsh square to each other by the end of the month, when I would say push is going to come to shove. What does that mean? That means that Mars is a planet of war. So there's the possibility of that coming up. Saturn is a planet of restriction. So there can be some real serious changes that might have to be made. And then Uranus is exactly the opposite. It's a planet of sudden, surprising change and volatility. Ooh, so there could be a surprise war. There could be a surprise change in the structure of things that are very big programs, such as the space program, or aviation, or electronics. I mean, all of these industries, or the internet, they can all be severely threatened now because these planets in fixed signs, which do not budge, each want their own way, and they're not going to get it, but they're going to insist on having it anyway. That can make you feel a little tense. So that's why if you employ sweet talk, you might be able to sort of tiptoe out and escape some of the attention that is going to be around. And I suggest you try real hard to do that throughout the summer. It'll be for your own safety. And so that is why caution is advised. Uranus in Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius have been squaring each other the whole year. They're going to continue to do that for the next 2.5 years while Saturn is still in Aquarius. So they're sort of at war. And then Mars is coming in to ignite that and to set it off. And so we don't know what's going to happen. But these are not loving aspects at all. And if there is somebody or a nation or a company that is on the warpath, they're almost creating their own destruction. But, you know, if they choose to do that, it's their choice. So this is a time when you and I, that are just sort of people that want to have peace, have got to work a little bit harder on our relationships and have got to be very nice. And I don't mean getting bullied or anything. What I mean is that just don't try to be part of the problem. Try to be part of the solution by using sweet talk or a nice smile, or by simply minding your own business all summer long. The life you save could be your own. So I hope you try that. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, you know, Aries, you can be energized right now. And even if you didn't suddenly have a burst of energy, somebody else you know does, Aries, because Mars is now in Leo, and it's trining your sun. So there could be somebody suddenly coming into your life, Aries, and saying, well, come on, let's go. And they'll expect you to do it, Aries. So you could be prompted to do something that is a lot of fun. Leo rules summer fun and sports and the entertainment world, and it rules love affairs. There could be one of those headed your way, Aries. And so this is a time when, since Mars is your own ruler and it is finally in a very good aspect to your sun, it's trining your sun, that you may decide you sort of want to get something underway and get it going. You know, you need to think real carefully about that, Aries. And I'm not saying that you're not capable of succeeding. You certainly are capable of succeeding. But the question that I do have to ask you is, once you start something, where are you going to land, Aries? Because there hasn't been support in the fire signs very much at all. And, you know, we don't live in a vacuum. It's not like there's the whole rest of the world and then you. It's that you have to interact with others. And how are you going to achieve your goals? Where are you going to land and still be okay with other people, or be compatible with, with other people as well? You'll have to figure that out. I wouldn't start anything that I couldn't finish, Aries. So be real careful. That Mars in Leo is a better indication of pending war than anything else. I would not get involved in that if I were you. Not any kind, not even if it's just a little spat at work. Don't do it, Aries. Just try to stay as angelic as you can, if possible. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus, this is a time with that grand trine in the earth signs. Oh boy, the world is your oyster, Taurus. Well, part of it is anyway. Most of it could be. As long as you stick to practical matters, as long as you're trying as hard as you can to be in good health, and as long as you are very carefully and systematically looking over the facts, making lists, adding up the costs of things. In other words, sticking to real tangible information, facts and figures, dates and schedules. All those things will work very well for you. And you need to watch your health, but that's good. You could get help with that. The moon in Virgo is trining your sun, so that's wonderful. There can be a way for you to sort of relieve your stress, Taurus. Now, you could say, what stress? Oh, don't worry, Taurus, it is headed your way. And you should almost sit down and quietly think of a plan that is a stress reliever so that you can turn to it whenever you are challenged quite suddenly, because that could happen anytime between now and the end of July. And that is because Mars in Leo is now squaring your sun. Saturn in Aquarius has already been squaring your sun, but now it's retrograde. Some things in your life are going to have to be renegotiated in one way or another, or readjusted, I would say. And that's possible, Taurus. This grand trine in the earth signs is very favorable for you. So, I mean, if there's a question you can't answer, you will be able to go and find someone else that can supply you with an answer. And I would do that, Taurus. You could have some important tax questions to ask. It might be planning for taxes for next year even, or taxes that haven't quite been paid this year. So you could get some help with that. So there are people around that are willing to support you, Taurus, and you need to be very nice to them so that they will do that, because you are going to come under some challenges that can be very surprising, some of which are old. They've been around for a while. You would be familiar with those, and others which are extremely aggressive and just arrive out of nowhere. So try not to waste any time in fighting. Instead, if you have a problem, go find somebody else who can give you a good answer, because they're around. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini, you just had a great new moon solar eclipse in your sign. And since there are 3 planets in the air signs, you are still able to go forward and probably, if you're willing to make revisions, probably go forward and either conclude a plan or get a lot closer to doing it. And so you could shorten up the time frame for something right now, since the Sun and Mercury are in your sign. But Mercury is retrograde, and they are trining Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde. Okay, well, 2 retrograde planets out of 3, they're all in good aspect, but 2 of them are going backwards. That means, Gemini, gotta go back and check a few things. You might have overlooked something. You might have underestimated the strength of someone else. You might have looked at conditions that you thought were going to be more stable, but something volatile could happen and sort of upend them a little bit. And then you would have to revise your plans even further. Well, you could do that, though. You would be successful at that. You have to remember that Saturn in Aquarius, even though it is under tremendous pressure right now because Mars is opposing it and Uranus is squaring it, that Saturn is going to trine your sun and the Libra sun for the next 2.5 years. And by August 1st, Jupiter is coming back into Aquarius, and it too will trine your sun. So pick your battles, Gemini. You do not need to win them all right now. And I wouldn't even try to get in one right now, because there are other people with very strident, hardball attitudes, and they're looking for a fight. This is not your nature, Gemini. Don't get in a fight with people like that. So you're going to have to back off a little bit, or maybe I would say go around them in one way or another. You know, you're a very clever sign, and you can make do with some temporary solution, even if it's not ideal, if it means that you don't have to encounter these hardball people. And so I think you're going to be successful, but you just have to remember that the people that you can really count on are going to be the ones that are extremely respectable, maybe a little older, are looking for solid results. If they don't see the results, you're not going to get their help. But on the other hand, you're a pretty serious person, and you just had a solar eclipse in your sign. So you are going to start something new. And you may not be sure of how it's going to turn out in the future, but if you could get backing from the right people, I would say you should go for it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Oh, love is in the air, Cancer. Lucky you. At least you're going to have a good time, I think, because I feel like saying the worst is over. And the reason why is Mars is not in your sign anymore, which is good. It's moved into Leo, and now Venus is in your sign. Ooh, that changes everything, doesn't it, Cancer? For one thing, it could get you in a lot better mood. And then you could sort of be wanting to be loving and charitable and kind to everybody. And they would love to see you that way as well. And so keep a smile on your face, Cancer, and be sure and spread that sweet talk around all summer long. You'll be very popular for that. You're very popular now. And since Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces are trining your sun, and together all three planets are trining the sign of Scorpio, you may be instrumental in bringing about proven facts that demonstrate that there was solid evidence of an accomplishment prior to now, and now that the hidden truth has come out about that, you may be instrumental in seeing that justice is done in one way or another, not in a malicious way, but in a way that brings about the admission of a deception or a mistake, and then the ability to correct it and go forward on a much higher plane. You could do that, Cancer, or help with it. So good luck. You're going to be very lucky with people or information from behind the scenes that makes you quite happy. And it could come at any time. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Well, Leo, do you have your running shoes on? Because you're going to need them. And that is because Mars is now in your sign. It's only at 3 degrees today. So, oh boy, even though Mars is a fast-moving planet, it's going to run into resistance. And Mars is not a planet that likes resistance. Mars is an energetic, impulsive planet. It likes to move forward. Mars rules 2 signs. It rules Aries, which rules new beginnings. So you may want to get a new beginning underway, Leo. And I would say it's not going to be quite as easy as you thought it would be. That doesn't mean you couldn't do it, but there's going to be more resistance than you think. So don't get your heart set on something for a particular deadline, Leo. Realize that there could be delays. But if you allow for the delays, that simply, you could use those delayed downtimes to improve the next step of your venture and thereby end up being rather successful after a while, maybe this fall, maybe by Christmas, which would be nice. So there are better things ahead, Leo. But for right now, since your sign rules the heart, the back, and the blood supply, you are the person that's got to really watch that, Leo. And the reason why is that your sign is under such severe challenges from Saturn in Aquarius that is opposing Mars in your sign, and from Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, which is squaring that Mars as well. Now, to be precise, these 3 planets are going to be in almost exact square to each other by the end of June. And that is when war could break out. That is when there can be some very unpleasant financial condition that arises. It certainly means there could be a horrible accident, and it might be in space, or it might be something that has to do with cybersecurity or the lack of it. So all of those things can be going on. And that's why I'm saying, okay, you can be facing a few challenges between now and the end of July, Leo. But if you just philosophically, sort of take the high road and say, I'm going to plan for delays. And, if we get delayed, this is what I'm going to do while we're delayed. In other words, you're still doing something. And then when you're picking up your goal again, and if you get delayed again, you say, well, and now I'm going to do this. In other words, you're still making progress. And that takes courage, and it takes dedication and hard work. And yours is a fixed sign. You can do it, Leo. It's just that if you allow for delays, you will not feel the stress or the tension that you normally would feel by getting temporarily stopped. You know, just say, okay, it's a temporary stop, not a real one. And then do something else until you can make forward movement again. And that way you'll still be successful. It's just going to take you a while. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. How wonderful it is and how rare that there are 3 planets in the Earth signs, and they're all trining each other. And it starts with the moon in your sign, Virgo. Isn't that nice? Because the moon is a lot of light. So you can be seen in a very benign light right now, Virgo. And you could be very fond of your home or of your family, because that's what the moon rules. And you could also have an intuition or a hunch about something, and it would be exactly right, Virgo. You know, and the moon rules Cancer. Cancers always know a little bit more about what's about to happen than most people do, because they're so sensitive. And you could be getting some sensitive impressions as well. And then that moon is trining Uranus in Taurus and also Pluto in Capricorn. So even if there is a change at the top in management or a change in the budgets, by cutting them a little bit, I think that it's not going to hit you, Virgo. There's going to be changes, but I think that you certainly are a person that's going to be able to sort of work around them without being affected by them too much. It doesn't mean those things aren't going to happen. It's just I don't think they're going to affect you. And also Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun, and it's under tremendous stress, but it's not causing you any grief, Virgo. And so you're in a sweet spot. It's sort of lucky. I think if I were you, Virgo, I'd just keep my head down, thank my lucky stars, and keep working quietly and do your best. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you really do have to think more seriously about your future. And I think what it means is that, with 3 planets in air signs trining each other, and all 3 of them trining your sign, Libra, that some idea or some goal that you had in the past that did not succeed for one reason or another has the opportunity to succeed soon. I would say after the end of July. So August or September is when you would have the opportunity to have an old idea or a wish or a proposal succeed. And that is because Saturn is trining your sun for the next 2.5 years. But it's under such immense pressure right now until the end of July that I don't see it doing anybody too much good. But as soon as that pressure lifts, and that will be whenever Mars moves out of Leo, then you're going to be able to pick up some idea you've had before, or the suggestion, or people that haven't gotten back to you for months could get back to you now and help you reorganize your activities for this fall, which would make you very successful. Because after the end of July, Jupiter is coming back into Aquarius, and it and Saturn will be trining your sun. And right now, the sun and Mercury in Gemini are also trining your sun. So you just have to understand, Libra, that, you really are not under the pressure you faced last year. It's over. It doesn't mean there can't be other pressure around, but nothing like last year. And so I think, Libra, you are going to be able to move on. If you get stalled now, why don't you take a vacation? Why don't you catch up on some things that you're not going to have time for this fall, because I think you're going to be real busy. So just keep to yourself and make yourself happy right now. And make a promise, Libra, that when change comes knocking on your door, you'll answer it. And that something new will begin for you. Because I think it's a little overdue. So remember, something can be revived. And when it gets revived, you better jump in. and that will be this fall. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, remember, when you really need to have your suit of armor on. Even 2 suits would be a good idea, Scorpio, because, oh boy, could you get hammered from between now and the end of July. Now, you would have to set up a defense against that. You would have to decide in your own mind, okay, some scenarios. Okay, if this happens, I'm going to do such and such. If that happens, I'm going to do this. In other words, plan for disaster. Plan to be attacked. Plan for the challenges that are going to be out there. Not to win them, Scorpio. I'm not talking about you winning too many things. What I'm talking about is having such an excellent defense that you really don't get hurt. And that's enough, because Mars in Leo is squaring your sun. Mars is your own ruler, not in a good position for your sun sign. It means other people can be very jealous of you and wanting to do whatever they can to upset your apple cart. So you'll have to devise a strategy for those people, like avoidance would be a good idea. And then Saturn in Aquarius is squaring your sun, and it's retrograde. So some plans that you had for the future that you thought were written in stone might get revised. Now, being willing to revise something means that you are still open to negotiation on it, and so you wouldn't necessarily be losing there either, particularly if you employ sweet talk, or you just smile at people, or you are able to agree to shortcuts that end something even sooner than you thought. That makes you a winner, Scorpio. You might not win everything, but it still makes you a winner. And then Uranus in Taurus is opposing your sun sign, and believe me, that is sort of like double trouble, because Uranus is a planet of volatility and sudden change. And what is it in? A financial sign, Taurus. And yours is the other financial sign. So somewhere in your life, your finances are going to get challenged. So I could say they're going to get hit. Hopefully you have not been gambling, because you could lose a big gamble right now. A lot of people could lose a gamble right now. But if it isn't that, then the point is that if you have a strategy to defend yourself against different scenarios that are quite threatening at the moment, then what you're doing is that mentally you are preparing yourself to sort of jump over the problem or get around the problem and ahead of it. And you could probably do that because there are no malefic planets in your sign. They're in all the other signs. You know, somebody's going to end up, instead of hurting you, they're going to end up hurting somebody else, because that's what they want to do. But you could actually circumvent that if you think about how to handle certain scenarios and get primed for it before it happens. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. This is a time when shorter is better. And what I mean by that is, if something only takes a short time to do, that's going to work out real well for you, Sagittarius. It means that you don't get hung up on something that takes quite a long time that could distract you from other things that you're interested in. Okay, with the Sun and Mercury in Gemini opposing your sun sign, and with them being very well fortified by Saturn in Aquarius, you can be wanting to sort of jump in with both feet into something new and sort of really get into it. And you, with your fine mind, you could do that. But on the other hand, Sagittarius, shorter is better. Why is that? Because other people with more determination than you've got, with more meanness than you've got, with more hardball attitude than you'll ever have, Sagittarius, are sort of in the ring now. Okay, they're the players. And that's why you cannot afford to be around these people, because they really mean business. And they would fight you much harder than you would fight them, because it's not your nature. And so step back. Shorter is better. What can you accomplish in a short period of time? What can you do maybe as an advisor or a counselor to young people? That doesn't take forever, but still that could be sort of interesting for you. Maybe you could gather research from them or something like that. But at least don't get in the path of people that want to go to war, because it isn't good for you. You have a fantastic solar eclipse coming up in your sign in December, and you're going to win it. You're going to do really well then. So don't jeopardize your peaceful health of mind or your safety in any way by jumping into a big mess. Just go around it or hold back a little bit right now. Yours is a fire sign. Fire signs do not like to hold back. But for your own safety, remember, caution is advised right now. So take it easy, Sagittarius. Go on vacation if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. Yours is an earth sign, and there are 3 planets in the earth signs all trining each other. Only one of them is retrograde, and that is Pluto in your sign, Capricorn. And so with Pluto going retrograde, but trined by the moon and trined by Uranus in Taurus, it simply means that you may be getting a different idea of how you want to operate. In other words, Capricorn rules big business and big government agencies. And generally, Capricorns are so security prone, they sort of like to work in things like that because generally big corporations or government agencies last over time. And Saturn is your ruler, and it's the planet of time. So Capricorns know how to make time work for them. But Pluto is retrograde now. And it means, since these earth signs can deal with finances in one way or another, or at least with realistic facts, it simply means this is a better time for you to sort of look at the facts in your life, Capricorn, and look at them with fresh eyes, not yesterday's eyes. Don't even look at yourself the way you used to look at yourself. You know, some things are over because they are long past. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them, but I would say you have to sort of clean the closet of your mind a little bit and put some things up on the shelf, Capricorn, and leave them there so that you can concentrate on fewer things in a smaller time frame and maybe on a smaller budget. And in other words, you could be successful by keeping it all within your own grasp. And, you know, small is good too, Capricorn. Hard to believe, I know, because, you know, you don't think that doing something small can be significant. But, you know, Capricorn, what if you did something small that was significant, that was so well done that it was perfect for you? Well, why don't you try it? You have nothing to lose. It's a way of redefining your own power. And it's also a way of renewal, making yourself new, without changing too much of your outer life. It's the inner life that can be born again now if you give it a try, Capricorn. So I hope you do. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. This is a time when you can be under pressure. And what kind of pressure would that be? Financial. Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun. It's been doing that all year. It means that you are beginning to realize, now that Saturn in your sign is retrograde, that you're not going to get the money you thought you were going to get out of some long-range plan that you had been counting on for a long time. Not only that, But now that Mars in Leo is opposing your sun sign, you are subject to health problems. So you really need to make sure that you're not doing anything that is bad for your heart, your back, or your blood supply. You have to treat yourself like you're gold right now, Aquarius, because you need to make it through a challenging time. But on top of that, there can be other people that want to lay claim for what you consider is yours alone. And you're not going to like that, Aquarius. That's not going to go over with you. So you might feel like you have to wage war, or you have to resist somebody, or you have to make some sudden changes. You will not succeed at any of that, so don't even try it. You could get yourself in trouble doing that. I think what you have to do is try to gather as much factual information as you can right now. And avoid people that are creating trouble for you right now. You still need information from them though. My suggestion is that you hire or ask somebody else to talk to these people that are bothering you. But don't do it yourself, because it's exposing yourself to people that don't like you anyway. Don't do that. They might attack you. Instead, send somebody else in, and find out what you can. Because I think the real conclusion is that some money that you have been counting on for a very long time is not going to be as much as you think. This does not mean that you're going broke. It doesn't mean anybody else is going broke. It is somewhat a condition brought by the deteriorating economies of so many countries in the world, and particularly of so many people in the United States. So the people that say they have wealth, well, if this is such a wealthy country, why are we so much in debt? And if people are so wealthy, why are they so hardball about the money right now? And so this is a time when you just have to calm down a little bit. And I would say try not to engage with anybody that's bothering you until August, because these harsh aspects will be over by the end of July, and you will be happier for that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. Jupiter and Neptune are in your sign, and they're both being tried by Venus in Cancer. Ooh, love is on the way, Pisces. Or else you're just going to be real happy doing something. And I think that your heart will be lighter now, and that is good. Your relationships with your family members could also be a lot better, because Venus is in Cancer, and Cancer rules the family. But on top of that, Pisces, you may be instrumental in uncovering information that exists. In other words, it's prior evidence that really does exist, correct evidence, that can assure now that justice is done. And you could be helping out with that in one way or another, Pisces, and that would be great. So I think that you are coming into a time of ease right now. The Sun and Mercury in Gemini are still squaring your Sun. I don't think you can quite believe everybody that you're talking to at the moment, Pisces, but particularly not young people a lot. But you can go ahead and really enjoy your family and your home right now. I think you're going to be a happy camper, Pisces, so enjoy that. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.